Hello. Is it thingy? Hello everybody, welcome. Sorry for the delay. Antonia forgot to put the laundry away. Well, more like put it in the dryer. Sometimes she'll put the washer on, it go do, makes a little sound, and then she forgets. This happens a lot. Anyways, did that real quick, but here we are. Today we'll be reading Winnie-the-Pooh. Let's see. Documentary 3, gotta see who am I? Okay. Oh, documentary is nice. Hey Baba, welcome. Hi Sui Sasaki, welcome. Hi Tai, welcome. Hi Shane, welcome. Okay, now where's the other thingy? Is this working? Is it? Ah! It's my face! But it's not moving. Antonia, can you fix it? You will? Thank you. Okay. I'll let her fix it. Oh, let me get out of the way. Huh, there you go. Okay, go ahead. Anyways, how's everybody doing? How is your Monday and your Tuesday? There you go, thank you. It turns out this happens a lot, apparently. You know, we just checked it. Oh, is it not? Oh dear. Okay, well, I guess, I can do the other thing? Yeah, okay. Where's, oh, your keyboard's over here. What was that? Time to read more about Pooh's drug addiction, right? About his honey addiction? Oh, this time she says she has gloves. So that should help her. Antonia, put your hand front. There you go. Okay. So, I'm gonna let her fix that real quick. Ah! Antonia, the thingy! Oh, you fixed it? You got it right now? Okay. There you go. Ba. Okay. Can I move now? Yes? Okay. Look, grab me. Here, help me. Thank you. Hi, guys. Okay. Antonia, move your hand. It's in the way. Oh, you gotta hold. Here, adjust the book. There you go. Perfect. Okay. Are you guys ready? Yes? Ahem. Antonia, how's your hands? You cold? Oh, that's too bad. Anyways. Ahem. Hi, Captain. Welcome. And then look, Antonia got chat box working. Though you could make it a little bigger. You will? Okay. Make it bigger. There you go. There you go. Yeah, so Antonia's got that working now. He fixed it yesterday. It just had to get a little good old reset. What happened to the lady friend? She's right here. Antonia, wave. She's my page turner for today, but she won't talk. Shh. It's the Lina stream today. Anyways, hi. My name's Lina. Nice to meet you. Anyways. If you'd like to see part 1... Wait, Antonia, get the link for part 1. Part 1! There you go, thank you. Are you going to watch Winnie-the-Pooh Blood and Honey? I don't think so. Antonia doesn't really like horror that much, so we're probably not gonna watch it. Even if it's funny horror. Well, actually it might be funny. Maybe I can convince her. We'll see. We shall see. Okay. She's pulling up the part 1 in case you missed it. You can watch it later. These really don't have any sort of, order. They're just kind of fun little stories. Alright, do you see? There's part 1. Oh, keyboard's that way. Down. There you go. Alright. Sorry, but there's no redeem Antonia. Unfortunately, so she's just gonna be here. She can wave at you though. Can certainly wave at you, say hi. Okay, Antonia, put part 1. You gotta turn to type, okay. Chapter 7. Are you almost done? Almost? Okay. Alright. And then, are we forgetting something? I feel like we're forgetting something. Oh! The notification on Discord! Oh, you gotta do that. Okay. Antonia. I already told them you forgot to do the laundry. You forget all the time, though. Yes? You do. Oh my god. She's shaking her head like, no. She does. The amount of times that I've come home from grocery shopping and she's like asleep and there's like laundry there. And I know for a fact it's the same load she put in like 4 hours ago. This is why Antonia has alarms for stuff, because she forgets. She's doing a little notification thingy. Come on, Antonia, chop chop. Almost done? Yes? Okay. How about now? Yes? Okay. Antonia, that's part 1! Oh dear. Okay, she's gonna fix it real quick. Cause she clicked the wrong one! Things she forgot to get. Okay, make sure you get the right one this time, please. There you go. Okay. Alright. So there is part 1. Ahem. There's no redemption. Well, I still remember something. Oh, thank you. She's fixing my ears. I remember some things, but some things she doesn't, so. Ahem. Alright. This document is 11 pages and slowly getting worse. Oh dear. Wow. Good luck. Okay, so. Ahem. Chapter 7. In which Kanga and Baby Lou come to the forest and Piglet has a bath. Alright. Nobody seemed to know where they came from, but they were in the forest, Kanga and Baby Lou. When Pooh asked Christopher Robin, how did they come here? Christopher Robin said, in the usual way, if you know what I mean, Pooh. And Pooh, who didn't, said, oh, then nodded his head twice and said, in the usual way. Ah. That's usually the response you give people when you have no idea what the hell is going on. You're like, uh-huh, I know exactly what you're saying. You know when you don't. You fake it till you make it, apparently. Ahem. Where was I? Oh wait. Then he went to call upon his friend Piglet to see what he thought about it. And at Piglet's house, he found Rabbit. So they all talked about it together. What I don't like about is this, said Rabbit. Here are we, you, Pooh, and you, Piglet, and me, and suddenly... And Eeyore, said Pooh. And Eeyore, and then suddenly... And Owl, said Pooh. Wow, Rabbit's really forgetting everybody. Unless he's just referring to the people, like, in the room. Got it, Antonia! Yay! See, that's why she found the blue gloves. Because apparently they help with her stickiness better. Or they help grab the pages better. I don't know. That's what she said. Anyways. And Owl. And then all of a sudden... Oh, and Eeyore, said Pooh. I was forgetting Pooh. That was the first name you said. Okay, never mind. Here we are, said Rabbit, very slowly and carefully. All of us. And then suddenly... We wake up one morning and what do we find? We find a strange animal among us. An animal whom we have never heard of before. An animal who carries her family about with her in her pocket. Oh yeah, the kangaroos. Suppose I carried my family with me in my pocket. How many pockets should I want? 16, said Piglet. 17, isn't it, said Rabbit? And one more for a handkerchief, that's 18. 18 pockets in one suit. I haven't time. Wait, Rabbit has a family? Really? Rabbit's a dad? Are you sure? Are we just exaggerating on the reproduction of rabbits? Is that what we're commenting on? Or does he actually have, what was it, 17 children. She's not putting up with smack talk today, it seems. Well, she's doing okay. And besides, her hands are cold, so that's the only suffering she's gonna get today. I'll be nice to her, right, Antonia? Yes, I'll thank you for the help, Antonia. Yay, hippa. Alright. That's an uncle, if I remember. Oh, when he means family, is he referring to like his siblings? Like his brothers and sisters? And then his family? Right? Oh, well, we'll just figure it out for now. There was a long and thoughtful silence. And then Pooh, who had been frowning very hard for some minutes, said, I make it 15. What? Said Rabbit. 15. 15 what? Your family. What about them? Pooh rubbed his nose and said he thought Rabbit had been talking about his family. Did I? Said Rabbit carelessly. Yes, you said... Never mind, Pooh, said Piglet impatiently. The question is, what do we do about Kanga? Oh, I see, said Pooh. They already lost me in the conversation. I don't even know whose family it's what anymore. Oh, I see, said Pooh. The best way, said Rabbit, would be this. The best way would be to steal baby... Are we talking about kidnapping here? Are we gonna kidnap a child? What the heck? Okay. No, this is wrong. I'm afraid to continue this train of thought. Oh my goodness. The best way would be to steal Baby Roo and hide him, and then when Kanga says, where's Baby Roo, we say, aha. Aha, said Pooh, practicing. Aha, aha. Of course, he went on. We could say, aha, even if we hadn't stolen Baby Roo. Pooh, said Rabbit kindly, you haven't any brain. I know, said Pooh humbly. Oh good, at least he acknowledges his lack of brain cells. We say aha so that Kanga knows that we know where Baby Roo is. Aha means we'll tell you where Baby Roo is if you promise to go away from the forest and never come back. Now don't talk while I think. The animals of this forest are kind of mean. Just because a nice new neighbor shows up doesn't mean you have to resort to kidnapping and violence. And threatening people. The things Pooh does for Honey, I'm pretty sure I was totally a druggie after the war. I mean, I think they just sat down with a cup of tea and said, let's write a cute little book. But then why we could kidnap a baby kangaroo? This just seems wrong. Very wrong. Pooh went into a corner and tried saying aha in this sort of voice. Sometimes it seemed to him that it did mean what Rabbit said, and sometimes it seemed to him that it didn't. I suppose it's just practice, he thought. I wonder if Kanga will have to practice too, as to understand it. There's just one thing, said Piglet, fidgeting a bit. I was talking to Christopher Wellman, and he said that Kanga was generally regarded as one of the fiercer animals. Well, she is a kangaroo and she is a mother. You really do not want to mess with kangaroos, much less a mother kangaroo. Have you seen mothers? Oh my goodness. They will protect their babies like there is no tomorrow. Anyways, I'm not frightened of fierce animals. Can't tell you, flip the page. Antonia. You can do this, come on. There you go. Good job, Antonia. Alright. Animals in the ordinary way. But it is well known that if one of the fiercer animals is deprived of its young, it becomes as fierce as two of the fiercer animals. In which case, aha is perhaps a foolish thing to say. Take it, said Rabbit, taking out a pencil and licking the end of it. You haven't any pluck. Does that mean you don't have any guts? Also, what's that with people licking pen? Ugh, excuse me. Ugh. What's up with people licking pencils? I don't understand that. Like, why do you need to lick a pencil? Are there particular pencils you need to lick? No? We use magic ink, so I don't really understand this whole pencil licking business if it was like something that they did back then. Some day and nights, it feels like someone's reading me a bedtime story. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I am reading a bedtime story, technically. Anyways, I hope you have a good sleep, and it's okay if you fall asleep while I'm waiting. It is all good. Alright, ahem. Where is he? Oh. It is hard to be brave, said Piglet, sniffling slightly, when you're only a very small animal. Also, why are these particular titles in caps? This seems very odd, but okay. Rabbit, who had begun to write very busily, looked up and said, "It's because you're a very small animal that you will be useful in the adventure before us." Why is Piglet gonna be useful? Ooh, Piglet, you should run. This doesn't seem very good. Piglet was so excited at the idea of being useful that he forgot to be frightened anymore. And when Rabbit wanted to say that kangas were only fierce during the winter months, being at other times of an affectionate disposition, he could hardly sit still. He was so eager to begin being useful at once. Poor Piglet. He was twicked, manipulated. Poor little piggy. It's okay, Piglet. Hopefully you can run away soon. What about me, said Pooh sadly. I suppose I shan't be useful. Never mind, Pooh, said Piglet comfortingly. Another time, perhaps. Oh, wow! He's like, we don't need you. Maybe next time. Bye! Without Pooh, said Rabbit solemnly as he sharpened his pencil. With what? With your teeth? What are you sharpening that with? The adventure would be impossible. Oh, said Piglet, and tried not to look disappointed. But Pooh went to the corner of the room and said proudly to himself, "Impossible without me. That sort of bear." Now listen, all of you, said Rabbit when he had finished writing. And Pooh and Piglet sat listening very eager with their mouths open. This is what Rabbit read out. Plan to capture Baby Roo. General remarks. Kanga runs faster than any of us, even me. More general remarks. Kanga never takes her off Baby Roo except when he's safely buttoned in her pocket. Number 3. Therefore, if we are to capture Baby Roo, we must get a long start. Because Kanga runs faster than any of us, even me, see number 1. Number 4, a thought. If Roo had jumped out of Kanga's pocket and Piglet had jumped in, Kanga wouldn't know the difference. Because Piglet is a very small animal. Number 5, like Roo. Seems like a very horrible idea, but we'll see how it goes. Go ahead, Antonia. Come on, Antonia, you got this. There you go, good job. Like that, the old material of solid graphite was very dense and did not leave much of a mark on paper. In order to leave a clear mark on paper, people would wet or lick the end of a pen. Oh, I see. Interesting. Interesting. I guess that's an interesting solution you humans came up with when dealing with your writing material. There's Google. Okay, thank you, Google. Thank you, Bubba, for telling us. Alright, number 6. But Kanga would have to be looking the other way first so as not to see Piglet jumping in. Number 7. C2. Number 8. Another thought. But if Pooh was talking to her very excitedly, she might look the other way for a moment. Number 9. Then I could run away with Roo. Number 10. Quickly. Number 11. And Kanga wouldn't discover the difference until afterwards. These animals aren't very smart. Well, Rabbit read this out proudly, and for a little while after he had read it, nobody said anything. And then Piglet, who had been opening and shutting his mouth without making any noise, managed to say very huskily, "And afterwards?" How do you mean? When Kanga does discover the difference. Then we all say, "Aha!" All 3 of us? Yes. Oh. Why, what's the trouble, Piglet? Nothing, said Piglet. As long as we all 3 say it. As long as all 3 say it, said Piglet. I don't mind, he said. but I shouldn't care to say aha by myself. I wouldn't sound nearly so well. By the way, he said, you're quite sure about what you said about the winter months? The winter months? Yes, only being fierce in the winter months. Oh, yes, that's all right. Well, Pooh, you see what you have to do? No, said Pooh Bear. Not yet, he said. What do I do? Well, you just have to talk very hard to Kanga so she doesn't notice anything. Oh, what about? Anything you like. You mean like telling her a little bit of a poetry or something? That's it, said Rabbit. Splendid. Now come on down. So they all went out to look for Kanga. Kanga and Roo were spending a quiet afternoon in a sandy part of the forest. Baby Roo was practice. Go ahead, Antonia. Good job! Yay! Round of applause for Antonia. She's doing so good. What's that? Gravity is not naturally occurring material, so it's sometimes just... Oh. Mind you, we get a second Winnie-the-Pooh horror movie. And a Barney and Peter Pan horror. A Barney one? Really? Interesting. Peter Pan always scared Antonia. She never liked it that much. It bothered her, kind of like when the Hellfire song showed up and the Hunchback of Notre Dame, but they haven't really done any Peter Pan stuff in her game, so she hasn't quite grown a liking to it. Like, what happened in your game again? That's not handed. Oh, right. Okay, yeah, her game had Hunchback of Notre Dame, little thing, so she got over that just a little bit, but still has not watched the movie. Is that right, Antonia? Yeah, I figured. Okay. Anyways, practicing very small jumps in the sand and falling down mouse holes and jumping out of them. Wait, what? Why is he going in mouse holes? Do kangaroos do that? Is that something they practice? Jumping into holes and jumping out of them? Oh, I read Barney. My bad. You meant Bambi. We call Bambi the Reckoning in Peter Pan Neverland Nightmare. Okay, it sounds very violent. Alright, so... And Kanga was fidgeting about saying, just one more jump dear and then we must go home. And at that moment, who should come stumping up the hill but Pooh? Good afternoon, Kanga. Good afternoon, Pooh. Look at me jumping, squeaked Roo and fell into another mouse hole. Hello, Roo, my little fellow. My bad, fellow. We're just going home, said Kanga. Good afternoon, Rabbit. Good afternoon, Piglet. Rabbit and Piglet, who had now come up from the other side of the hill, said, Good afternoon, and hello, Roo. And Roo asked them to look at him jumping, so they stayed and looked. And Kanga looked too. Oh, Kanga, said Pooh, after Rabbit had winked at him twice. I don't know if you're interested in poetry at all. Hardly at all, said Kanga. Oh, said Pooh. Roo dear, just one more jump and then we must go home. There's a short silence while Roo fell down another mouse hole. Go on, said Rabbit, and the dog whispered behind his paw. Talking of poetry, said Pooh, I made up a little piece as I was coming along. It went like this. Now let me see. Fancy, said Kanga. Now, Roo dear, you'll like this piece of poetry, said Rabbit. You'll love it, said Piglet. You must listen very carefully, said Rabbit. So as not to miss any of it, said Piglet. Oh yes, said Kanga, but she still looked at Baby Roo. How did it go, Pooh, said Rabbit. Pooh gave a little cough and began. Go ahead, Antonia. Your parents already a horror story. Disney just made it friendly like what they do with the fairies. Yeah, that makes sense. It's what? Who told me? I think it was you guys. I don't know who particularly, but didn't y'all say fairy tales are generally told... Oh yeah, it's in Christmas! The fairy tales are generally told as like a warning of sorts, so they usually don't have happy endings. I mean, unless it's supposed to be a happy ending, then yeah, but... Lines written by a bear, a very little brain. Oh joy. On Monday, when the sun is hot, I wondered to myself a lot. Now, is it true or is it not? That what is which and which is what? On Tuesday, when it hails and snows, the feeling on me grows and grows, that hardly anybody knows if those are these or these are those. On Wednesday, when the sky is blue and I have nothing else to do, I sometimes wonder if it's true that who is what and what is who. On Thursday, when it starts to freeze and hoarfrost twinkles on the trees, how very readily one sees that these are the whos, but whose are these? On Friday, yes it is, isn't it, Sinkinga? Not waiting to hear what happened on Friday. Just one more jump, Pooh dear, and then we really must be going. Rabbit gave Pooh a hurry-up sort of nudge. Talking of poetry, said Pooh quickly, have you ever noticed that the tree right over there? Where? Said Kanga. Now, Roo! Right over there, said Pooh, pointing behind Kanga's back. No, said Kanga. Now jump in, Roo dear, and we'll go home. You have to look at the tree right over there, said Rabbit. Shall I lift you in, Roo? He picked up Roo in his paws. I can see a bird in from here, said Pooh. Or is it a fish? You have to see that bird from here, said Rabbit. Unless it's a fish. It isn't a fish, it's a bird, said Piglet. So it is, said Rabbit. Is it a starling or a blackbird, said Pooh. I'm gonna be surprised if their plan actually works. Alright, let's see. That's the whole question, said Rabbit. Is it a blackbird or a starling? Whichever bird it is, I will gladly eat it. Anyways, ahem. And then at last Kanga did turn her head to look, and the moment that her head was turned, Rabbit said in a loud voice, "In you go, Roo!" And in jumped in Piglet into Kanga's pocket, and off scampered off Rabbit with Roo in his paws as fast as he could. Why, where's Rabbit? Said Kanga, turning around again. Are you all right, Roo dear? Piglet made a squeaky Roo noise from the bottom of Kanga's pocket. Rabbit had to go away, said Pooh, and I think he saw something he had to go and see about suddenly. And Piglet? I think Piglet thought something at the same time suddenly. Well, we must be getting home, said Kanga. Goodbye, Pooh. And in 3 large jumps he was gone. Oh dear. Hopefully he doesn't beat them up too badly. We shall see. Does anyone get beat up in this? Is there violence in this? I mean, Christopher Robin did, like, accidentally shoot Pooh Bear in the butt. He's like, "Paw, paw!" And he's like, "Ah!" Boom, he fell. In a puddle. 90% sure Peter Pan's based off the Earl King, the wild pig who kidnapped children during the hunt and turned them into God. Isn't that the labyrinth? Doesn't he kidnap kids? Isn't that what? Isn't he the Goblin King or something? Let's see. Pooh looked after her as she went. I wish I could jump like that, he thought. Some can, some can't. That's how it is. But there were moments when Piglet wished that Kinga couldn't. Often when he had a long walk home through the forest, he had wished that he were a bird. But now he thought jerkily to himself at the bottom of Kinga's pocket. If this is flying, I shall really, I shall never really take to it. And as he went up in the air, he said, "Oh!" And as he came down, he said, "Ow!" And he was saying, "Ow! Ow! Ow! Ow!" all the way to Kanga's house. Of course, as soon as Kanga unbuttoned her pocket, she saw what had happened. Just for a moment, she thought she was frightened. And then she knew she wasn't, for she felt quite sure that Christopher Robin would never let any harm happen to Woo. So she said to herself, "They're having a joke with me, I will have a joke with them." "Now then, Roo dear," she said as she took Piglet out of her pocket. "Bedtime!" Okay, she has a lot of faith in Christopher Robin. Christopher Robin, You do know your friends kidnapped this nice kangaroo's cub, right? Are they cubs? What are they referred to as? You know your friends kidnapped this nice kangaroo's baby, right? Christopher Robin, are you gonna put a stop to this kidnapping shenanigan? It hints at it, like, picket sign, trespassers will, as in trespassers will be shot. Oh. Go ahead, Antonia. You did it! Yay! Trespassers will be shot. Makes sense, makes sense. I said Piglet, as well as he could after his terrifying journey. But it wasn't a very good aha, and Kanga didn't seem to understand what it meant. Bath first, said Kanga in a cheerful voice. Aha, said Piglet again, looking around anxiously for the others. But the others weren't there. Rabbit was playing with Baby Roo in his own house and feeling more fond of him every minute. And Pooh, who had decided to be a Kanga, was still at the sandy place on the top of the forest practicing jumps. I'm not at all sure, said Kanga in a thoughtful voice, that it wouldn't be a good idea to have a cold bath this evening. Would you like that, Roo dear? Vicky, who had never been really fond of baths, shouted a long, indignant shudder and said in a brave voice that he could, Kanga, I see the time has come to speak plainly. Funny little Roo, said Kanga as she got the bathwater ready. I am not Roo, said Piglet loudly. I am Piglet. Yes, dear, yes, said Kanga soothingly. And imitating Piglet's voice, too. So clever of him. She went on as she took a large bar of yellow soap out of the cupboard. And what will he be doing next? Can't you see, shouted Piglet. Haven't you got eyes? Look at me! I am looking, Roo dear, said Kanga rather severely. And you know what I told you yesterday about making faces. If you go on making faces like piglets, you will grow up to look like Piglet. And then think how sorry you will be. Now then, to the bath, and don't let me have to speak to you about again. Did she roast Piglet? I have a feeling she roasted Piglet. It's like, oh, you don't want to grow up looking like Piglet, and you're gonna regret it, you know? Hey. Go ahead, Antonia. Oh, but uh-oh. There's Christopher Robin. Tell him, Kanga, tell him. Alright. Where he knew where he was, Piglet was in the bath, and Kanga was scrubbing him firmly with a large, lathery flannel. Hi, dead man. Welcome. Ow, cried Piglet. Let me out. I'm Piglet. Don't open the mouth, dear, or the soap goes in, said Kanga. There, what'd I tell you? You did it on purpose, spluttered Piglet as soon as he could speak again, and then accidentally had another mouthful of lathery flannel. That's right, dear, don't say anything, said Kanga. In another minute, Piglet was out of the bath and being rubbed dry with a towel. Now, said Kanga, there's your medicine and in bed. What, medicine? Said Piglet. To make you grow big and strong, dear. You don't want to grow up small and weak like Piglet, do you? Well then. Man, she is seriously roasting this pig. She's like, you don't want to look like him or be small and weak. At that moment, there's a knock on the door. Come in, said Kanga. And in came Christopher Robin. Christopher Robin, cried Piglet. Tell Kanga who I am. She keeps saying I'm Roo. I'm not Roo, am I? Christopher Robin looked at him very carefully and shook his head. You can't be Roo, he said, 'cause I've just seen Roo playing in Rabbit's house. Well, said Kanga, fancy that. Fancy my making a mistake like that. She eating ham tonight, right? She cleaning it, gonna give him some medicine and knock him out. Nom, eat him. Just kidding. Wait. Oh no, Antonia, not you. You changed the page. But wait, are kangaroos like are they herbivores? I thought they were herbivores. Are they omnivores? Do they eat like grass and meat? Alright. There you are, said Piglet. I told you so. I'm Piglet. Christopher Robin shook his head again. Well, you're not Piglet, he said. I know Piglet well, and he's quite a different color. Piglet began to say that this was because he had just had a bath, and he thought that perhaps he wouldn't say that. And as he opened his mouth to say something else, Kanga slipped the medicine spoon in and then patted him on the back and told him that it was really quite a nice taste when he got used to it. I knew it wasn't Piglet, said Kanga. I wonder who it can be. Perhaps it's some relation of Pooh, said Christopher Robin. What about a nephew or an uncle or something? Are they just messing with him? I think they're just messing with him. Poor Piglet, it was Rabbit's fault to begin with. Why are they bullying him? Well, I guess it's his own fault for falling for it. Alright, so King agreed that was probably what it was, said they would have to call it by some name. Call it? Oh my goodness. I shall call it Pootle, said Christopher Robin. Henry Pootle for short. And just when it was decided, Henry Pootle wriggled out of Kanga's arms and jumped to the ground. To his great joy, Christopher Robin had left the door open. Never had Henry Poodle Piglet run so fast as he ran then, and he didn't stop running until he had got quite close to his house. When he was 100 yards away, he stopped running and rolled the way home so as to get his own nice, comfortable cutter back. So Kanga and Roo stayed in the forest, and every Tuesday Roo spent the day with his great friend Wabbit, and every Tuesday Kanga spent the day with her great friend Pooh, teaching him to jump, and every Tuesday Piglet spent the day with his great friend Christopher Robin. So they were all happy again. Yay! What a mess this was. You guys could just, invited them for tea, get to know them better. You didn't kidnap her baby. Like, come on. I'm saying she street roasted them. I don't know what they actually eat. Oh, I got you. Let's see. Go ahead, Antonia. Is it the correct one? Yes, it is. Alright. Chapter 8. Christopher Robin leads an expedition to the North Pole. I think it's supposed to be exploration, but they didn't know how to spell it. Unless it's that word. Antonia, look up the word expedition. I just gotta see if it's a real word or not. Doesn't look that. Oh, Miss Antonia, you misspelled it. No, it's not a real word. Okay, maybe they meant to put exploration and they put expedition on accident. Alright, ahem. One fine day, Pooh had stumped up to the top of the forest to see if his friend Christopher Robin was interested in bears at all. What's wrong, Antonia? Is your hand cramping? You want to use the other hand? Okay. Better? Okay, you can use that hand. I'll stay right here. Ahem. Alright. You guys see me still? Sorry, Antonia's hand is still healing. She still doesn't know how she sprained it, but we don't want to mess it up anymore. So we'll give her hand a 2-chapter break. Hi Max, welcome. Cat Streamy, hi! I'm your favorite cat, yay! Was it Max or Ty? Who had the cat that would eat the furniture? Did your cat stop? Are they still eating the furniture? Alright, ahem. At breakfast that morning, a simple meal of marmalade spread lightly over a honeycomb or two, he had suddenly thought of a new song. It began like this. Sing ho for the life of a bear, da 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 da. When he had got as far as this, he stretched his head and thought to himself, that's a very good start for a song. But what about the second line? He tried to sing, oh, 2 or 3 times, but didn't seem to help. Perhaps it would be better, he thought, if I sang hi for the life of a bear. So he sang it, but it wasn't. Very well then, he said, I shall sing that first line twice, and perhaps if I sing it very quickly, I shall find myself singing the third and fourth lines before I have time to think of them. And that will be a good song. Now then. Know your cat's eating the furniture? Sorry about that, Max. Good luck. Did you try getting him a new scratch post and putting catnip on it? Maybe he'll like to eat that first before he touches the furniture. Sing ho for the life of a bear. Sing ho for the life of a bear. I don't much mind if it rains or snows, 'cause I've got a lot of honey on my nice new nose. I don't much care if it snows or thaws, 'cause I've got a lot of honey on my nice clean paws. Sing ho for a bear, sing ho for a poo, and I'll have a little something in an hour or two. Yay! Alright. He was so pleased with the song that he sang all the way to the top of the forest, and if I go on singing it much longer, he thought, it will be time for the little something, and the last line won't be true. True, Papa! So he turned it into a hum instead. Christopher Robin was sitting outside the store putting on his big boots. Sounds like a sea shanty. Da 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 da. Right? Like a little sailor song. Right? Is that a sea shanty? Like a little ocean song? Is that what that means? Right. As soon as he saw the big boots, Pooh knew that an adventure was going to happen, and he brushed the honey off his nose, the back of his paw, and spruced himself up as well as he could so as to look ready for anything. Good morning, Christopher Robin, he called. There you go. Good job, Antonia. Alright. You have feeling better? Yeah? Your other one too? Alright, go ahead and do your other hand then. There you go. Alright, ahem. Hello, Pooh Bear. Oh, look, it's the picture for the thumbnail. It's right here. Nice. Yeah, that's what it means. Okay, cool. Alright. Hello, Pooh Bear. I can't get this boot on. That's bad, said Pooh. You think you could very kindly lean against me? 'Cause I keep falling so hard, I fall over backwards. Pooh sat down, dug his feet to the ground, and pushed hard against Christopher Robin's back. And Christopher Robin pushed hard against his, and pulled at his boots until he had got it on. And that's that, said Pooh. What do we do next? We're all going on an expedition, said Christopher Robin, as he got up and brushed himself. Thank you, Pooh. What? I might have missed a stream or two, but how does Cat learn how to read? Oh, I've known how to read for over 100 years now. I mean, when you get summoned by a vampire who's a bookworm, you kind of learn how to read very quickly. Anyways, yeah, I love reading. It's great. Going on an expedition, said Pooh eagerly. I don't think I've ever been on one of those. Where are we going to go on this expedition? Expedition, silly old bear. It's got an X in it. Oh, said Pooh. I know, but he didn't really. We're going to discover the North Pole. 100 years? Yeah. Yeah. Antonia and I are like over 100 years old. I mean, by vampire standards, that's not that old. By human standards, that is very old, apparently. Anyways. Honey, yeah. Things I read were interesting. Interesting. Oh, said Pooh again. And what is the North Pole, he asked. It's just a thing you discover, said Christopher Robin carelessly, not being quite sure himself. Oh, I see, said Pooh. Are bears any good at discovering it? Of course they are. Yeah, they're called polar bears. Anyways. And Rabbit and Kanga and all of you. It's an expedition. That's what an expedition means. A long line of everybody. You'd better tell the others to get ready while I see if my gun's alright. And we must all bring provisions. Bring what? Things to eat. Oh, said Pooh happily. I thought you said provisions. I'll go and tell them. That's what he said, Pooh. Never mind. And then he stumped off. The first person he met was Rabbit. Hi, Shido. Welcome. Are you poking my face? I'll poke your face. Let me poke your face. Antonia, poke cat face too. Ah, Antonia! There you go. And I gotta flip the page now. Anyways, hi Sheila, welcome, welcome. Ba. Let's see. Oh. Sorry, I was taking a cat nap before dance. Alright, hello Rabbit, he said. Is that you? Let's pretend it isn't, said Rabbit, and we see what happens. I've got a message for you. I'll give it to him. We're all going on an expedition with Christopher Robin. What is when we're on it? A sort of boat, I think, said Pooh. Oh, that sort. Yes, we're going to discover a pole or something. Or is it a mole? Anyhow, we're going to discover it. We are we? Yes, and we got to bring things to eat with us. In case you want to eat them. Now I'm going down to Piglet's. Tell Kanga, will you? He left Rabbit and hurried down to Piglet's house. And the Piglet was sitting on the ground at the door of his house, throwing happily at Dandelion, and wondering whether it would be his this year, next year, sometime, or never. He had just discovered that it would be never, and was trying to remember what it was, and hoping it wasn't anything nice, when Pooh came up. Let's see. Oh, Piglet, said Pooh excitedly. We're going on an expedition, all of us, with things to eat, to discover something. To discover what? Said Piglet anxiously. Oh, just something. Nothing fierce? Christopher Robin didn't say anything about fierce. He said that it had an X. It isn't their necks I mind, said Piglet earnestly. It's their teeth. But if Christopher Robin is coming, I don't mind anything. In a little while, they were already at the top of the forest, and the expedition started. First came Christopher Robin and Rabbit, then Piglet and Pooh, then Kanga with Roo in her pocket, and Owl and Eeyore. And at the end, in a long line, all Rabbit's friends and relations. Oh, did he bring his family? Guess he did. I didn't ask them, explained Rabbit carelessly. They just came. They always do. They can march at the end after Eeyore. What I say, said Eeyore, that's unsettling. I didn't want to come on this expo, whatever Poe said, and I only came to oblige. But here I am, and if I am the... Let's see. Alright. At the end of the expo, what we're talking about, and then let me be the end. But if every time I want to sit down for a little rest, I have to brush away half a dozen Rabbit's smaller friends or relations first, then it isn't whatever it is, at all. Simply confused noise. That's what I say. Oh, they're not what's of his family. Look like there's bugs and frogs and mice. Let's see. I see what Eeyore means, said Owl. If you ask me. I'm not asking anybody, said Eeyore. I'm just telling everybody. We can look for the North Pole, or we can play Here We Go gathering nuts in May with the end part of an ant's nest. It's all the same to me. Damn, Eeyore. You're like really playing on straight. You're like, well. Alright. There's a shout from the top of the line. Come on, called Christopher Robin. Come on, called Pooh and Piglet. Come on, called Owl. We're starting, said Rabbit. I must go. And he hurried off to the front of the expedition with Christopher Robin. Alright, said Eeyore. We're going. Only don't blame me. So off they all went to discover the pole, and as they walked, they chattered to each other of this and that, all except Pooh, who was making up a song. This is the first verse, he said to Piglet, when he was ready with it. First verse of what? My song. What song? This one. Which one? Well, if you listen, Piglet, you'll hear it. How do you know I'm not listening? There you go. Alright. Who couldn't answer that one, so he began to sing. They all went off to discover the pole. Owl and piglet and rabbit it all. It's a thing you discover, as I've been told, by owl and piglet and rabbit and all. Eeyore, Christopher, Robin, and Pooh, and Rabbit's relations all went to where the pole was, none of them knew. Sing hey for owl and rabbit and all. Yay! Alright, good night, saying bye. Thanks for coming by. I said Christopher Robin, turning around to Pooh. We're just coming to a dangerous place. I'm sorry, Srinka, but I think you're mispronouncing Robin. Isn't it Christopher Robin? Isn't that how you say it? And how you say Christopher Robin? I am saying Christopher Robin. That's what I'm saying. Ahem. How you say Christopher Robin? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay. Ahem. Wait, I said Pooh. Turn around Cookie to Piglet. I said Piglet to Kinga. I said Kinga to Owl. Well, Roo said hush several times to himself very quietly. Hush said Owl to Eeyore. Hush said Eeyore in a terrible voice to all Rabbit's friends and relations. You're saying Robin. It's Robin. Yeah, I'm saying Robin. Christopher Robin. I gotcha. I hear Robin, but it sounds right to me. Robin, Robin, same thing. It sounds the same. Ahem. Where was it? Oh, right. Hush said Eeyore in a terrible voice to all of Rabbit's friends and relations, and Hush they said hastily to each other all down the line until it got to the last one of them. The last and smallest friend and relation was so upset to find the whole expedition saying hush to him that he buried himself head downwards in a crack in the ground. Oh, you bug? And stayed there for 2 days until the danger was over, and then went home in a great hurry and lived quietly with his aunt afterwards. His name was Alexander Beetle. This was a very specific side tangent, but okay. He had come to a stream all twisted and tumbled between high rock banks, and Christopher Robin saw at once how dangerous it was. Was this a place, he explained, for an ambush? What sort of bush? Whispered Pooh to Piglet. A gorse bush? My dear Pooh, said Owl in a superior way, don't you know what an ambush is? Owl said Piglet, looking round at him severely. Good job, Antonia! Yay! Pooh's whisper was a perfectly private whisper, and there was no need. An ambush, said Owl, as a sort of surprise. So, is the gorse bush sometimes? Said Pooh. An ambush, as I was about to explain to Pooh, said Piglet, is a sort of surprise. Sorry, it was a joke. It's all good. I got you. Alright, let's see. What? Oh, if people jump on you suddenly, that's an ambush, said Owl. An ambush, Pooh, when people jump at you suddenly, explained Piglet. Pooh, who now knew what an ambush was, so the gorse bush had sprung at him suddenly one day when he fell off a tree, and he had taken 6 days to get all the prickles out of himself. Oh, ow! That must have hurt. We're not talking about gorse bushes, said Owl, a little crossly. I am, said Pooh. They were climbing very cautiously up the stream now and going from rock to rock, and after they had gone a little way, they came to a place where the banks widened out at each side, so on each side of the water there was a level strip of grass on which they could sit down and rest. As soon as he saw this, Christopher Robin called, "Halt!" and they all sat down and rested. I think, said Christopher Robin, that we ought to eat all of our provisions now, so we shan't have so much to carry. I don't think that's how that works, but okay. Eat all our what, said Pooh? All that we've brought, said Piglet, getting to work. That's a good idea, said Pooh, and he got to work too. Have you all got something? Asked Christopher Robin with his mouth full. All except me, said Eeyore. As usual. He looked around at them in his melancholy way. I suppose none of you are sitting on a thistle by any chance. I believe I am, said Pooh. Ow! He got up and looked behind him. Yes, I was. Thought so. Thank you, Pooh. If you quite finished with it, he moved across to Pooh's place and began to eat. It don't do them any good, you know, sitting on them, he went on as he looked up munching. Takes all the life out of them. Remember that? Another time, all of you. A little consideration. A little thought for others makes all the difference. As soon as he had finished his lunch, Christopher Robin whispered to Rabbit. Rabbit said, yes, yes, of course. And they walked a little way up the stream together. Quite so, said Rabbit, looking important. I wondered. It's only Rabbit. I suppose you don't know. What does the North Pole look like? Well, said Rabbit, stroking his whiskers. Now you're asking me. I did know once, only I've sort of forgotten, said Christopher Robin carelessly. The funny thing, said Rabbit, but I've sort of forgotten too, although I did know once. I suppose it's just a pole stuck in the ground? Sure to be a pole, said Rabbit, because of calling a pole, and if it's a pole, well, I should think you would be sticking in the ground. Shouldn't you? Because there'd be nowhere else to stick it. Yes, that's what I thought. The only thing, said Rabbit, is where is it sticking? That's what we're looking for, said Christopher Robin. Okay, I think they're getting this idea of the North Pole all very mixed up. But we shall see. They went back to the others. Piglet was lying on his back, sleeping peacefully. Roo was washing his face and paws in the stream, while Kanga explained to everybody proudly that it was the first time he had ever washed his face himself. Yay! Congratulations, Roo! And Al was telling Kanga an interesting anecdote full of long words like encyclopedia and rhododendron, to which Kanga wasn't listening. I don't hold with all this washing, grumbled Eeyore. This modern behind-the-ears nonsense. What do you think, Pooh? But we shall never know what Pooh thought, for there came a sudden squeak from Roo, and a splash and a loud cry of alarm from Kanga. Oops, I missed Pooh's line. Pooh said, well, said Pooh, I think. Did Kanga fall in? You okay? Oh, no, they gotta get him. Oh dear, okay. So much for washing, said Eeyore. Eeyore, this is not helping. Roo's fallen in, cried Rabbit. He and Christopher Robin came rushing down to the rescue. Look at me swimming, squeaked Roo from the middle of the pool. It was hurried down a waterfall into the next pool. Are you alright, Roo dear? Called Kanga anxiously. Yes, said Roo. Look at me swim. And down he went over the next waterfall into another pool. Everybody was doing something to help. Piglet, wide awake suddenly, was jumping up and down, making "oh, I say" noises. And Owl was explaining that in case of a sudden and temporary immersion, the important thing was to keep the head above water. Kanga was jumping along the bank, saying, "Are you sure you're all right, Roo dear?" To which Roo, from whatever pool he was in, at the moment was answered, "Look at me swimming." At least he's taking this very positive. Tonya said, "No, she's right here." Yeah, she's right here. Let's see. What is this? Where was it? Oh wait. Eeyore had turned round and hung his head over the first pool into which Roo fell, and with his back to the accident was grumbling quietly to himself and saying, "All this washing. But catch onto my tail, little Roo, and you'll be alright." Christopher Robin and Rabbit came hurrying past Eeyore, were calling out to the others in front of them. "Alright, Roo, I'm coming," called Christopher Robin. "Get something across the stream lower down, some of you fellas," said Rabbit. But Pooh was getting something. 2 pools below Roo, he was standing with a long pole in his paws, and Kanga came up and took one end of it. Between them they held it across the lower part of the pool, and Rue, still bubbling proudly, "Look at me swimming," drifted up against it and climbed out. Oh good! Whew! Oh, okay, that was very long chase scene. Let's see. "Did you see me swimming?" squeaked Rue excitedly, while Kanga scolded him and rubbed him down. "Pooh, did you see me swimming?" "That's called swimming, what I was doing." "Rabbit, did you see what I was doing?" "Swimming." "I don't Piglet. I say, Piglet, what do you think I was doing?" "Swimming." "Christopher Robin, did you see me?" Shh. Oh my gosh. Very chatty little kangaroo. But Christopher wasn't listening. He was looking at Pooh. "Pooh," he said, "where'd you find that pole?" Pooh looked at the pole in his hands. "Oh my goodness, is this gonna be the North Pole? Is this gonna be their long faded pole?" "I just found it," he said. "I thought it'd have to be useful if I just picked it up." "Pooh," said Christopher Robin solemnly, The expedition is over. You've found the North Pole." "Oh," said Pooh. Eeyore was sitting with his tail in the water when they all got back to him. "Oh, Rudy, be quick, somebody," he said. "My tail's getting cold, and I don't want to mention it, but I just mentioned it. I don't want to complain, but there it is. My tail's cold." "Here I am," squeaked Roo. "Oh, there you are. Do you see me swimming?" Eeyore took his tail out of the water and swished it from side to side. "As I expected," he said. "Lost all feeling. Numbed it. That's what it's done. Numbed it. Well, it's not in my mind. I suppose it's alright." "Poor old Eeyore, I'll dry it for you," said Christopher Robin. He took out his handkerchief and rubbed it up. "Thank you, Christopher Robin. The only one who seems to understand about tails. I don't think that's what's the matter with some of these others. They're no imagination. A tail isn't a tail to them. It's just a little bit extra at the back." "Well, doesn't Kanga have a tail?" "No? Pretty sure she does." "Alright." "Never mind, Eeyore," said Christopher Robin, rubbing his harders. "Is that better?" "It's feeling more like a tail, perhaps. It belongs again, if you know what I mean." "Hello, Eeyore," said Pooh, coming up to them with his pole. "Hello, Pooh. Thanks for asking, but I shall be able to use it again in a day or two." "Use what? What are we talking about?" "I was talking about anything," said Pooh, looking puzzled. "My mistake again. I thought you were asking how sorry you were about my tail being all numb, and could you do nothing to help?" "No," said Pooh, "that wasn't me," he said. He thought for a little, then suggested helpfully, "Perhaps it was somebody else." "Oh, thank him for me when you see him." Pooh looked anxiously at Christopher Robin. "Pooh's found the North Pole," said Christopher Robin. "Isn't that lovely?" Pooh looked modestly down. "That it?" said Eeyore. "Yes," said Christopher Robin. "Is that what we were looking for?" "Yes," said Pooh. "Oh," said Eeyore. "Well, anyhow, it didn't rain," he said. They stuck the pole in the ground. Christopher Robin tied a message to it. "North Pole discovered by Pooh. Pooh found it." Interesting. Then they all went home again, and I think, but I'm not quite sure, that Roo had a hot bath and went straight to bed. But Pooh went back to his own house, and feeling very proud of what he had done, had a little something to revive himself. Good job, team, for discovering a pole. I think it was just a random stick. Also, Antonia, is the background music off? It is not. You're sorry? Okay. Well, hopefully it was low enough that nobody could hear it. But we'll see. Ahem. You can sit now. Thank you. Alright, chapter 9. Oh. Is it okay? Yeah, it's moving. Okay. Uh-oh. What is this? Don't worry about it? Okay. Sorry, the computer went a little funny. Ahem. How many more do we got, Antonia? Oh. What's that? Oh. Okay. Well, how many pages is that? You checking? Let's see. 344. And which one are we at? 128. Okay. Ahem. I don't speak little about a good stick. Alright, alright. The music was intentional. Okay, Antonia, play back. No, I'm not judging the stick. I was just saying it's not the North Pole. Also, do they even have a pole in the North Pole? Like, isn't... Never mind, I'm not gonna ask. Ahem. I think Pooh's lack of brain cells is rubbing off me a little. Alright. Piglet is entirely surrounded by water. It rained and it rained and it rained. Piglet told himself that never in all his life he was, goodness knows how old, 3 was it? Or 4? Never had he seen so much rain. Days and days and days. If only, he thought, as he looked out with the window, I had been in Pooh's house or Christopher Robin's house or Rabbit's house when it began to rain, then I should have had company all this time. Instead of being here all alone with nothing to do except wonder when it will stop. And he imagined himself with Pooh saying, "Did you ever see such rain, Pooh?" And Pooh saying, "Isn't it awful, Piglet?" And Piglet saying, "I wonder how it is over at Christopher Robin's way." And Pooh saying, "I should think poor old Rabbit is about flooded out by now." And it would have been jolly to talk like this, and really it wasn't much good having anything exciting like floods if you couldn't share them with somebody. They do look like giant candy cane. That's how you know you reached Santa's workshop. Ah ha ha, very funny. Hardy har har. I get it. Ha. Ahem. But it was rather exciting. The little dry ditches in which Piglet had nosed about so often that became streams, and the little streams across which he had splashed through rivers, and the rivers between whose steep banks he had played so happily had sprawled out of its own bed and was taking up so much room everywhere that Piglet was beginning to wonder whether it would be coming into his bed soon. "It's a little anxious," he said to himself, "to be a very small animal entirely surrounded by water. Christopher Robin and Pooh could escape by climbing trees, and Kanga could escape by jumping, and Rabbit could escape by burrowing, and Owl could escape by flying, and Eeyore could escape by making a loud noise until rescued. And here I am, surrounded by water. I can't do anything." It wasn't a joke? Oh, yes, everyone. Santa's definitely real. Very real. Ahem. Anyways, it went on raining, and every day the water got a little higher, until now it wasn't nearly up to Piglet's window, and he still hadn't done anything. There's Pooh, he thought to himself. Pooh hasn't much brain, but he never comes to any harm. He does silly things, and they turn out right. There's Owl. Owl hasn't exactly got brain, but he knows things. He would know the right thing to do when... surrounded by water. And there's Rabbit. He hasn't learnt in books, but he can always think of a clever plan. There's Kanga. She isn't clever. Kanga isn't, but she would be so anxious about Roo that she would do a good thing to do without thinking about it. And then there's Eeyore. And Eeyore is so miserable anyhow that he wouldn't mind about this, but I wonder what Christopher Robin would do. And suddenly he remembered a story. Don't pay attention, I get into a fight every year. Got medical bills to prove it. Oh, I believe you. I believe you. When you gonna tell us about that bread incident, huh? The major event. Actually, are you making sound? Are you sure? I think I just heard you yawn. Oh, I just remembered. Okay, yeah. You might get Jan Tonya on Thursday, cause she eat Mexican food and pizza, might I add. That's already like spicy on top of like acidic stuff, so like might be yawning a lot in the next couple of days. Are you yawning again, Antonia? Shh. No yawning. Close your mouth. No, shh. Can't say anything. I'm not suffocating you. You're fine. You're fine. Shh. Okay. There you go. Are you good? Okay. Alright. Sighed Woodward. Oh dear, okay. Major Christmas incidents, I see. Where were we? Then suddenly he remembered the story which Christopher Robin had told about a man on a deserted island who had written something in a bottle and thrown it in the sea. And Piggy thought that if he wrote something in a bottle and threw it in the water, perhaps somebody would come and rescue him. He left the window and began to search his house, all of it that wasn't under water. And at last he found a pencil and small piece of dry paper and a bottle with the cork in it. He wrote on one side of the paper, "Help, Piglet, me." On the other side, "It's me, Piglet, help, help." So he put the paper in a bottle and he corked the bottle up as tightly as he could, and he leaned out of his window as far as he could, leaned without falling in, and he threw the bottle as far as he could throw. Splash! And in a little while it bobbed up again on the water, and he watched it floating slowly away in the distance. His eyes ached with looking, and sometimes he thought it was the bottle, sometimes he thought it was just a ripple on the water while he was following, and suddenly he knew that he would never see it again, and he had done all he could to save himself. So now, he thought, somebody else will have to do something, and I hope they will do it soon, because if they don't, I shall have to swim, which I can't, so I hope they do it soon. And he gave a very long sigh and said, "I wish Pooh were here, so much more friendly with two." When the rain began, Pooh was asleep. It rained and rained and rained, and he slept and he slept and he slept. He had a tiring day. You remember how he discovered the North Pole? Well, he was so proud of this that he asked Christopher Robin if there was any other poles such as Bear of Little Brain might discover. "There's a South Pole," said Christopher Robin. "I expect there's an East Pole and a West Pole, though people don't like talking about them." Pooh was very excited when he heard this, and suggested that they should have an expedition to discover the East Pole. But Christopher Robin had thought of something else to do with Kanga, so Pooh went out to discover the East Pole by himself. Whether he discovered it or not, I forget, but he was so tired when he got home that in the very middle of his supper, after he'd been eating for a little more than half an hour, he fell fast asleep in his chair and slept and slept and slept. Then suddenly, he was dreaming. He was at the East Pole, and it was very cold. It was a very cold pole with the coldest sort of snow and ice all over. He had found a beehive to sleep on, but there wasn't room for his legs, so he had left them outside. And little woozles such as inhabit the East Pole came and nibbled all the fur off his legs to make nests for their young. And the more they nibbled, the colder his legs got, until suddenly he woke up with an ow! There he was, sitting in his chair with his feet in water and water all around him. That kind of sounded like a nightmare, like your feet are slowly getting eaten by bees so they can implant their young into your feet. Ooh. Alright. He splashed to his door and looked out. "This is serious," said Pooh. "I must have an escape." He took his largest pot of honey and escaped with it to a broad branch of his tree, well above the water. Then he climbed down again and escaped with another pot. And when the whole escape was finished, there was Pooh sitting on his branch, dangling his legs there. Beside him, there were 10 pots of honey. 2 days later, there was Pooh sitting on his branch, dangling his legs. There beside him were 4 pots of honey. 3 days later, there was Pooh sitting on his branch, dangling his legs, and there beside him was 1 pot of honey. 4 days later, there was Pooh, and it was on the morning of the 4th day that Piglet's ball came floating past him with one loud cry of honey. "Oh, thank you for the head pat, Whelp. Thank you. Where's the little head pat thingy? Aha! Thank you, Whelp. Also, hi, Whelp. Welcome. This is quite Lina. What? What did I say? Did I say something? What? I didn't say anything. I didn't judge his 10 pots of honey and slowly eating his reserves. I didn't say anything. Ahem. On the morning of the 4th day that Piglet's ball came floating past him with one loud cry of honey, Pooh plunged into the water and seized the bottle and struggled back to his tree again. "Father," said Pooh as he opened it, "all that wet for nothing. What's that bit of paper doing?" He took it out and looked at it. "It's a message," he said to himself. "That's what it is. Letters of P. So it is that. So is P means Pooh. So it's a very important message to me. I can't read it. About the bees. Oh, the bees. Yes. Is the lag really bad? I said that like a few moments ago, no? Oh, it's okay. Well, isn't that what Pooh is describing? That the bees were eating his legs, like, and then they're implanting their young into the remnant of the legs? Is that not what he was describing? I must find Christopher Robin, or Owl, or Piglet, or one of those clever readers who can read things, and they will tell me what this message means. Only I can't swim. Bother. Then he had an idea, and I think that for a bear of very little brain, it was a good idea. He said to himself, if a bottle can float, then a jar can float. And if a jar floats, I can sit on top of it if it's a very big jar. So he took his biggest jar and corked it up. All boats had to have a name, he said, so I shall call mine the Floating Bear. And with these words, he dropped his boat into the water and jumped after it. For a little while, Pooh and the Floating Bear were uncertain as to which of them was meant to be on the top, but after trying one or two different positions, they sailed down with the Floating Bear underneath the Pooh, triumphantly astride it, paddling vigorously with his feet. Christopher Robin lived at the very top of the forest. It rained and it rained and it rained, but the water couldn't come up to his house. It was rather a jolly to look down to the valleys and see the water all around him, but it rained so hard that he stayed indoors most of the time and thought about things. Every morning he went out with his umbrella, put a stick in place where the water came up to, and every next morning he went out and couldn't see his stick anymore. So he put another stick in place where the water came up to, then he walked home again, and each morning he had a shorter way to walk than he had the morning before. On the morning of the 5th day, he saw the water all around him and knew that for the first time in his life he was on a real island, which was very exciting. It was on this morning that Owl came flying over the water to say, "How do you do?" to his friend Christopher Robin. "I say, Owl," said Christopher Robin, "isn't this fun? I'm on an island." "The atmospheric conditions have been very unfavorably lately," said Owl. "The what?" "It has been raining," explained Owl. "Yes, Christopher Robin, it has. The flood level has reached an unprecedented height." "The who?" "There's a lot of water about," explained Owl. "Yes," said Christopher Robin, "there is. However, the prospects are rapidly becoming more favorable at any moment." "Have you seen Pooh?" "Not at the moment. I hope he's alright," said Christopher Robin. "I've been wondering about him. I expect Piglet's with him. Do you think they're alright, Owl?" "I expect so. You see, at any moment. Do go and see Owl, 'cause Pooh hasn't got very much brain, and he might be doing something silly. And I do love him so, Owl. Do you see Owl?" "That's alright," said Owl. I'll go back discreetly," and he flew off. In a little while he was back again. "Pooh isn't there," he said. "Not there?" "Has been there. He's been sitting on a branch of his tree outside his house with 9 pots of honey. But he isn't there now." "Yeah, 'cause he's in the water floating on a jar." "Oh, Pooh," cried Christopher Robin. "Where are you?" "Where am I, said a growly voice behind him. "Pooh!" They rushed into each other's arms. "How'd you get here, Pooh?" asked Christopher Robin, who was ready to talk again. "On my boat," said Pooh proudly. "I had a very important message sent to me in a bottle. And owing to having got some water in my eyes, I couldn't read it, so I brought it to you on my boat." "I thought you said you couldn't read." He's like, "I got water in my eyes, so I need you to read it, because obviously I know how to read. I just couldn't see it, yeah." With these proud words, he gave Christopher Robin the message. "But it's from Piglet," said Christopher Robin when he had read it. Is there anything about Pooh? And asked the bear, looking over his shoulder. Christopher Robin read the message aloud. Oh, those peas. Piglet. I thought they were Poohs. You must rescue him at once. I thought he was with you, Pooh. Owl, could you rescue him on your back? I don't think so, said Owl after a grave thought. It is doubtful with the necessary dorsal muscles. Then would you fly to him at once and say that rescue is coming? And Pooh and I will think of a rescue and come as quick as ever we can. Oh, don't talk, Owl. Go on quick. I still think you have something to say. Owl flew off. Now then, Pooh, said Christopher Robin. Where's your boat? I have to say, explained Pooh as he walked down to shore of the island, that isn't just an ordinary sort of boat. Because it's a boat, and sometimes it's more of an accident. It all depends. I really like his explanation of his jar boat. This is very interesting. Depends on what? On whether I'm on top of it or underneath it. Oh, well, where is it? There, said Pooh, pointing proudly to the floating bear. It wasn't what Christopher Robin expected, and the more he looked at it, the more he thought what a brave and clever bear Pooh was. The more Christopher thought about it, and the more Pooh looked modestly down his nose and tried to pretend he wasn't. Ah, okay. Well, he tried, and he did make it. It technically worked. Alright, let's see. Oh. Wait, what? Antonia, did you miss a page? You did! Antonia's first mistake! Hehe. It's fine. It's okay. It's okay. You fixed it, didn't you? You're good. Alright. Well, it's too small for two of us, said Christopher Robin sadly. Three of us with Piglet. That makes it smaller still. Oh, Pooh Bear, what shall we do? And then this bear, Pooh Bear, Winnie-the-Pooh, FOP, Friend of Piglets, RC, Rabbit's Companion, PD, Pole Discover, EC, and TF, Eeyore's Comforter, and Tailfinder. In fact, Pooh himself said something so clever that Christopher Robin could only look at him with mouth open and eyes staring, wondering if this was really the bear of very little brain, whom he had known and loved for so long. Jealous you. It's okay, Antonia, you did your best. Don't shake it, huh? I need to read it. Don't shake it. We might go in your umbrella, said Pooh. We might go in your umbrella, said Pooh. We might go in your umbrella, said Pooh. Wow, this kid was really shocked. He's like, oh my goodness, that is your one and only clever idea you've ever came up with in the time that I have known you. Good job, Pooh Bear. You can be smart sometimes when you want to be. Alright. But suddenly, Christopher Robin saw that they might. He opened his umbrella and put it in point downward in the water. It floated but wobbled. Who got in? He was just beginning to say that it was all right now when he found that it wasn't, so after a short drink which he didn't really want, he waded back to Christopher Robin. And then they both got in together and it wobbled no longer. I shall call this boat the Brain of Pooh, said Christopher Robin, and the Brain of Pooh set sail forthwith in a southwesterly direction, revolving gracefully. You can imagine Piglet's joy when at last the ship came right in sight of him. And after years he liked to think that he had been in the very great danger during the terrible flood, but the only danger he had really been in was in the last half hour of his imprisonment. When Owl, who had just flown up, sat on a branch of his tree to comfort him, it told him a very long story about an ant who had once set a seagull's eggs by accident, laid a seagull's eggs by mistake. And the story went on and on, rather the sentence, until Piglet, who was listening out of his window without much hope, went to sleep quietly and naturally, slipping slowly out the window toward the water, until he was only hanging on by his wards, and the water until he was only hanging on by his toes, at which moment... Piglet, who was listening out his window without much hope, went to sleep quietly and naturally, slipping slowly out of the window towards the water until he was only hanging on by his toes, at which moment, luckily, a sudden loud squawk from Owl, which was really part of the story, being what his aunt said, woke Piglet up and just gave him time to jerk himself back into safety and say... How interesting. And did she? And then, well, you can imagine his joy when at last he saw the good ship, the Brain of Pooh, Captain C. Robin, his first mate, P. Bear, coming over the sea to rescue him. And that is really the end of the story, and as I am very tired of that last sentence, I think I shall stop there. Whew! That was a very long sentence. I was like, Water, Antonia. Oh, don't let go. Yeah, there you go, hold it. You want water too? Antonia, you haven't been reading. You're still thirsty? Fine, you can get some water first, and then I want water. What's wrong? Oh, did you do it wrong? You gotta fix it? The straw is stuck. Okay, let me get on the book. E. Did it freeze? I think the webcam froze, Antonia. Yeah, it's frozen. Alright, we'll fix the water first. Don't drop it, Antonia! Oh dear. You're fine? Okay. Fine, everybody. Some technical difficulties and Antonia dropping water all over herself. Antonia, don't touch the water! You're gonna get the book wet! Oh dear, hold on. Antonia. Yes, you're very sorry. Now clean it up. Don't touch the book with the gloves. Hold on, wait till they're dry. Okay, drink your water now. Hey, give me some now. Delicious. Okay. Put the water away. We drop it everywhere. Okay. Oh, yeah, it's broken. Oh dear. I think because you touched it. Alright, we'll delete it then. Gonna add it back. You know what you're doing? Okay. Let's see. You're working now? Aha! Hello! I have to move it real quick. There you go. Alright. Antonia, there's the water on the... I'm not gonna stand there when there's water everywhere. Thank you. Okay, Did you dry it? Yes. Your hands dry? You sure? Hey. Thank you. Alright. For sure your hands are dry. Yes, okay. Alright, let's see. Redeem Antonia. Antonia, say hi. There you go. Alright. Where are we? Chapter 10. One day, when the sun had come back over the forest, bringing in with the scent of May, and all the streams of the forest were tinkling happily to find themselves their own pretty shape again, and the little pools lay dreaming of the life they had seen and the big things they had done, and in the warmth and quiet of the forest, the cuckoo was trying over his voice carefully and listening to see if he liked it. And oh wait, I didn't even read the title. What's the title about? What does it say? Oh, Mr. Robin gives Pooh a party, and we say goodbye. Goodbye? Why are we saying goodbye? I don't want to say goodbye. Not done yet. Hold on. Aww. Wood pigeons were complaining gently to themselves in their lazy, comfortable way that it was the other fellow's fault, but it didn't matter very much. On such a day like this, Christopher Robin whistled in a special way he had, and Owl came flying out of the 100-acre wood to see what was wanted. Owl, said Christopher Robin, I'm going to give a party. You are you? Said Owl. Oh, what a pretty illustration. And to be a special sort of party, because of what Pooh did when he did what he did to save Piglet from the flood. Oh, that's what it's for, is it? Said Owl. Yes, so you will tell Pooh as quickly as you can, and all the others, because it will be tomorrow. Oh, it will it? Said Owl, still being as helpful as possible. So will you go and tell them, Owl? Al tried to think of something very wise to say, but couldn't, so he flew off to tell the others, and the first person he told was Pooh. Pooh, he said, Christopher Robin's giving a party. Oh, said Pooh, and seeing that Al expected him to say something else, he said, will there be those little cake things with pink sugar icing? Al felt that this was rather beneath him to talk about little cake things with pink sugar icing. He told Pooh exactly what Christopher Robin said and flew off to Eeyore. A party for me, thought Pooh to himself. How grand! He began to wonder if all the other animals would know that it was a special Pooh party, and if Christopher Robin had told them about the floating bear and the brain of Pooh and all the wonderful ships he had invented and sailed on. He began to think how awful it would be if everybody had forgotten about it, and nobody quite knew what the party was for. And the more he thought about it, the more the party got muddled in his mind, like a dream when nothing goes right. And the dream began to sing itself over his head until it became a sort of song. It was an anxious Pooh song. 3 cheers for Pooh. For who? For Pooh. Why, what did he do? I thought you knew. He saved his hen from a wedding. 3 cheers for Pooh. For where? For Bear. He couldn't swim, but he rescued him. He rescued who? Oh, listen, do. I am talking of Pooh. Of who? Of Pooh. I'm sorry I keep forgetting. Well, Pooh was a bear of enormous brain. Just say it again. Of enormous brain. Of enormous what? Okay, I'm getting kind of annoyed at this poem. Well, he ate a lot, and I don't know if he could swim or not, but he managed to float on a sort of boat. On a sort of what? Or a sort of pot. So now let's give him a 3 hearty cheers. Now let's give him 3 hearty witches, and hope he'll be with us for years and years and grow in health and wisdom and riches. 3 cheers for Pooh. For who? For Pooh. 3 cheers for Bear. For where? For Bear. 3 cheers for the wonderful Winnie-the-Pooh. Just tell me, somebody, what did he do? Oh dear. Okay. While there was going on inside him, Al was talking to Eeyore. Eeyore, said Al, Christopher Robin's giving a party. Very interesting, said Eeyore. I suppose they'll be sending me down the odd bits which got trodden on. Kind and thoughtful. Not at all. Don't mention it. There's an invitation for you. What's that like? An invitation. Yes, I heard you. Who dropped it? This isn't anything to eat. It's asking you to the party. Tomorrow. Eeyore shook his head slowly. You mean Piglet, the little fellow with the excited ears? That's Piglet. I'll tell him. No, no, said Owl, getting quite fussy. It's you! Are you sure? Of course I'm sure. Christopher Robin said all of them. Tell all of them. All of them except Eeyore? All of them, said Owl sulkily. He sounds very pissed off. He's like, Eeyore! Ah, said Eeyore. A mistake, no doubt. But still, I shall come. Only don't blame me if it rains. But it didn't rain. Christopher Robin had made a long table out of some long piece of wood, and they all sat around it. Christopher Robin sat at one end and Pooh sat at the other, and between them on one side were Owl and Eeyore and Piglet, and between them on the other side was Rabbit and Roo and Kanga. And all Rabbit's friends and relations spread themselves about on the grass and waited hopefully in case anybody spoke to them or dropped anything or asked them the time. Well, they just kind of travel along just there, huh? It was the first party to which Roo had ever been. He was very excited. As soon as ever they had sat down, he began to talk. Hello, Pooh, he squeaked. Hello, Roo, said Pooh. Roo jumped up and down his seat for a little while and then began again. Hello, Piglet, he squeaked. Piglet waved upon him, being too busy to say anything. Hello, Eeyore, said Roo. Eeyore nodded gloomily at him. It will rain soon. You see if it doesn't, he said. Roo looked to see if it didn't, and it didn't, so he said, Hello, Owl. And Owl said, Hello, my little fellow, in a kindly way, and went on telling Christopher Robin about an accident which had nearly happened to a friend of his whom Christopher Robin didn't know. And Kanga said to Roo, Drink up your milk first, dear, and talk afterwards, to Roo. He was drinking his milk and tried to say that he could do both at once, and had to be patted on the back and dried for quite a long time afterwards. When they had all nearly eaten enough, Christopher Robin banged on the table with his spoon, and everybody stopped talking and was very silent. Except Roo, who was just finishing a loud attack of hiccups and trying to look as if it was one of Rabbit's relations. This party, said Christopher Robin, is a party because of what someone did. We all know who it was, and it's his party because of what he did, and I've got a present for him, and here it is. Lina felt about a little and whispered, Where is it? While he was looking, Eeyore coughed in an impressive way and began to speak. Friends, he said, including oddments, it's a great pleasure, perhaps I had better say it's been a pleasure so far, to see you at my party. Wait, Eeyore, this isn't a party for... What? What I did was nothing. Any of you except Rabbit and Al and Kanga would have done the same. Oh, and Pooh, my remarks do not of course apply to Piglet and Roo because they are too small, and any of you would have done the same. But it just happened to be me. It was not. I need hardly say with an idea of getting what Christopher Robin is looking for now. And he put his front leg in his mouth and said in a loud whisper, Try under the table. That I did what I did, but because I feel that we should all do what we can to help, I feel that we should all... I'm confused. What is going on? Is he trying to stall for time while Christopher Robin finds something, or what? Hump, said Roo accidentally. Roo, dear, Kanga said reproachfully. Is it me, said Roo, a little surprised. What's Eeyore talking about, Piglet whispered to Pooh. I don't know, said Pooh rather dolefully. I thought it was your party. I thought it was once, but I suppose it isn't. It's sooner yours than Eeyore, said Piglet. Huh? Okay, are we all just confused who party it is? So what I said, Pooh. Up, said Roo again. As I was saying, said Eeyore loudly and sternly. As I was saying, when I was interrupted by various loud sounds, I feel that... Here it is, cried Christopher excitedly. Pass it down to silly old Pooh. It's for Pooh. For Pooh, said Eeyore. Of course it is, the best bear in all the world. I might have known, said Eeyore. After all, one can't complain. And my friends, somebody spoke to me only yesterday, and it was last week or the week before that Rabbit bumped into me and said, Bother, this social round, always something going on. That was for Pooh, it was for Pooh. I think Eeyore got confused. Nobody was listening, for they were all saying, Open it, Pooh. What is it, Pooh? I know what it is. No, you don't, and other helpful remarks of the sort, and of course Pooh was opening it as quickly as he could, without cutting the string, because you never know when a bit of string might be useful. At last it was undone. When Pooh saw what it was, he nearly fell down. He was so pleased it was a special pencil case. There were pencils in it marked B for bear, and pencils marked HB for helping bear. Oh, honey, that's not what... Never mind. Okay. And pencils marked BB for brave bear. There's a knife for sharpening the pencil. You gave this bear with no brains a knife? That sounds like a very bad idea. Okay. An India rubber for rubbing out anything which you had spelt wrong, and a ruler for ruling lines for the word to walk on, and the inches marked on the ruler in case you want to know how many inches anything was, and the blue pencils and red pencils and green pencils for saying special things in the blue, red, and green. And all these lovely things were in this little pockets of their own in a special case which shut with a click when you clicked it, and they were all for Pooh. Oh, said Pooh. Oh, Pooh, said everybody else except Eeyore. Thank you, growled Pooh. But Eeyore was saying to himself, this writing business, pencils and whatnot, overrated if you ask me. Silly stuff, nothing in it. I just realized Eeyore's kind of grumpy. He's kind of mean to all of Rabbit's friends and relations, and yelled, as I was saying, because Roo is doing his little hiccups. Alright. Later on, when they had all said goodbye and thank you to Christopher Robin, Pooh and Piglet walked home thoughtfully together in the golden evening, and for a long time they were silent. When you wake up in the morning, Pooh, said Piglet at last, what's the first thing you say to yourself? What for breakfast? Said Pooh. What do you say, Piglet? I say, wonder what's going to happen exciting today. Pooh nodded thoughtfully. It's the same thing, he said. What did happen? Asked Christopher Robin. When? The next morning. I don't know. Did you think and tell me and Pooh sometime? if you want it very much. Who does? Said Christopher Robin. Gave a deep sigh, picked up his bear by the leg, and walked off to the door, trailing Winnie-the-Pooh behind him. At the door he turned and said, "Going to see me have my bath?" "I might," I said. "Was Pooh's pencil case any better than mine?" "It was just about the same," I said. He nodded and went out, and in a moment I hear Winnie-the-Pooh bump, 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 going up the stairs behind him. Ah, and that's the end of this portion anyways. I can relate with him. With him, what? With him, me and all my friends are a-holes. Oh my god. Okay, our friends have those moments. Let's see. I'm sure everybody has, like, our moments in our friend group. It's like, hold on! I'm speaking. Give me a moment. Right. Gave me Christopher Robin, and then you breathe new life in Pooh. Whatever of each has left my pen goes homing back to you. My book is ready and comes to greet the mother it longs to see. It would be my present to you, my sweet, if it weren't your gift to me. Oh, that's sweet. Alright, what's this? The house at Pooh Corner. Okay. Contradiction. Ahem. Oh, starting a new segment. Kind of wondering if... You guys want the one chapter from this segment? Do you want me to save it for a part 3? Let me know. Oh, Antonia, you touched the thing. Is it working? Yes, okay. Oh, my bad. I misread that. I thought you meant your friend. Yes, mine are too, but meant his. Oh, I see. That's true. The only nice one that I can see is probably Kanga, Ruin, and Owl. Though Owl just tends to talk a lot. But Kanga's nice. Everybody else, not so much. One more for the road. Alright. Suiseseki, I'm gonna take that as one more chapter emoji. Yes. Alright, so I'm trying to get some water. Krista is cold and she's thirsty and her hands are cold. Are they still cold? Yeah, still too bad. Anyways. Ahem. Antonia, dry your hands. Do not touch the book if it's wet. Are they dry? Not yet? Okay. Good? Alright. We'll do one more. Contradiction. An introduction is to introduce people, but Christopher Robin and his friends who have already been introduced to you are now going to say goodbye. So this is the opposite. When we asked Pooh what the opposite of an introduction was, he said... Antonia? Why'd you hiccup? You interrupted me, Antonia. Shh, be quiet. You being quiet? Antonia, if you cannot yawn the rest of the stream, I'll let you eat a fruit roll-up. Yes? Okay, good job. Yeah, she's like recently got some fruit roll-ups. And she hasn't had those in years, so she's kind of been eating one every day. So I told her no fruit roll-up today, Antonia. But if she behaves, I might let her get one. Half. You don't want half? You want a whole one? Okay, fine. Now, shh, Antonia. What do you eat in the warehouse today? Oh no! Well, but do you have a jacket on? I hope you have a jacket. You have a heater or something with you? Good luck, Bubba. Stay warm, okay? Alright, what's this? What the opposite of introduction was, he said, the what of a what? Which didn't help us as much as we had hoped, but luckily Al kept his head and told us that the opposite of an introduction, my dear Pooh, was a contradiction, and as he is very good at long words, I am sure that's what it was. My bad. Why are we having a contradiction is because last week when Christopher Robin said to me, what about the story you were going to tell me about what happened to Pooh when? I happened to say very quickly, what about 9 times 107? And And we had done that one. He had one about cows going through a gate at 2 a minute, and then there are 300 in the field, so how many are left after an hour and a half? We find these very exciting, and we have been excited quite enough. We curl up and go to sleep, and Pooh, sitting wakefully a little longer in his chair by our pillow, thinks grand thoughts to himself about nothing until he too closes his eyes and nods his head and follows us on tiptoe into the forest. There still we have magic adventures more wonderful than any I've told you about, but now when we wake up in the morning they're gone, before we can catch hold of them. How did the last one begin? One day when Pooh was walking in... Walking in the forest, there was 107 cows on a gate. No, you see we have lost it. It was the best, I think. Well, here are some of the other ones, all that we shall remember now, but of course, it isn't really goodbye, because the forest will always be there, and anybody who is friendly with bears can find it. AAM. Alright. I have a sweater on, but I've got a jacket that goes over it. Got some gloves and a beanie at least. And tea. Ooh, tea's good. Tea will keep you warm. Alright, well, don't forget your jacket next time, okay? Let's see. Ahem. A house is built at Pooh Corner for Eeyore. One day when Pooh had nothing else to do, he thought he would do something, so he went round to Piglet's house to see what Piglet was doing. It was still snowing as he stumped over the white forest track, and he expected to find Piglet warming his toes in front of his fire, but to his surprise he saw that the door was open, and the more he looked inside, the more Piglet wasn't there. "He's out," said Pooh sadly. "That's what it is. He's not in. I shall have to go fast, thinking walk by myself. Bother." But first he thought he would knock very loudly just to make quite sure, and while he waited for Piglet not to answer, he jumped up and down to keep warm, and a hum came suddenly in his head, which seemed to him a good hum, such as hummed hopefully to others. "The more it snows, tidily-pom, the more it goes, tidily-pom. The more it goes, tidily-pom, on snowing and nobody knows, tidily-pom. How cold my toes, tidily-pom, how cold my toes, tidily-pom, are growing." Okay, this was the most confusing poem out of the whole thing. I don't know if I'll find a more confusing one, but this one definitely takes the cake. Anyways. So what I'll do, said Pooh, is I'll do this. I'll just go home first and see what the time is, and perhaps I'll put a muffler around my neck, and then I'll go and see Eeyore and sing it to him. He hurried back to his own house. His mind was so busy on the way with the hum that he was getting ready for Eeyore that, when he suddenly saw Piglet sitting in his best armchair, he could only stand there rubbing his head and wondering whose house he was in. "Hello, Piglet," he said. "I thought you were out." "No," said Piglet. "It's you who are out, Pooh." "So it was," said Pooh. "I knew one of us was." He looked at his clock, which had stopped at 5 minutes to 11 some weeks ago. "Nearly 11 o'clock," said Pooh happily. "You're just in time for a little smackerel of something." He put his hand to the cupboard, "and then we'll go out, Piglet, and sing my song to Eeyore." "Which song, Pooh?" "The one we're going to sing to Eeyore," explained Pooh. The clock was still saying 5 minutes to 11 when Pooh and Piglet set out on their way half an hour later. And the wind had dropped, and the snow, tired of rushing around in circles, tried to catch itself up, now fluttered gently down until it found a place on which to rest. And sometimes the place was Pooh's nose, and sometimes it wasn't. And in a little while Piglet was wearing a white muffler round his neck and feeling more snowy behind the ears than he had ever felt before. "Pooh," he said at last, a little timidly, because he didn't want Pooh to think he was giving in, "I was just wondering, how would it be if we went home now and practiced our song and then sang it to Eeyore tomorrow? Or the next day, when we happen to see him?" "That's a very good idea, Piglet," said Pooh. "We'll practice it now as we go along, but it's no good going home to practice it because it's a special outdoor song which has to be sung in the snow." "Are you sure?" asked Piglet anxiously. Well, you'll see, Piglet, when you listen, because this is how it begins. The more it snows, tiddly-pom... Tiddly what? said Piglet. Pom, said Pooh. I put that in to make it more hummy. The more it goes, tiddly-pom, the more... Didn't you say snows? Yeah, but that was before. Before tiddly-pom. It was a different tiddly-pom, said Pooh, feeling rather muddled now. I'll sing it to you properly, and then you'll see. So he sang it again. The more it snows, tiddly-pom, the more it goes, tiddly-pom, the more it goes, tiddly-pom, on snowing. And nobody knows tiddly-pom. How cold my toes, tiddly-pom, how cold my toes, tiddly-pom, are going. He sang it like that, which is much the best way of saying it, and when he had finished, he waited for Piglet to say that. Of all the outdoor hummings for snowy weather he had ever heard, this was the best. And after thinking the matter out carefully, Piglet said, Pooh, he said solemnly, it isn't the toes so much as the ears. By the time they were getting near Eeyore's gloomy place, there was where he lived, and as it was still very snowy behind Piglet's ears, he was getting tired of it, but then turned into a little pine wood, sat down the gate which led into it. They were out of the snow now, but it was very cold, and to keep themselves warm, they sang Pooh's song right through 6 times. But there you go, Bubba. You just have to sing Pooh Bear's song. Apparently that's going to help keep you warm. You gotta sing about 6 times or so. Piglet doing the tiddly-poms, and Pooh doing the rest of it, and both of them thumping on the top of the gate with pieces of a stick at the proper places, and in a little while they felt much warmer and were able to talk again. I've been thinking, said Pooh, and what I've been thinking is this. I've been thinking about Eeyore. What about Eeyore? Well, poor Eeyore has nowhere to live. Nor he has, said Piglet. You have a house, Piglet, and I have a house, and they are very good houses. And Christopher Robin has a house, and Al and Kanga and Rabbit have houses. Even Rabbit's friends and relations have houses, or something. But poor Eeyore has nothing. So, what I've been thinking is, let's build him a house. That, said Piglet, is a grand idea. Where shall we build it? We will build it here, said Pooh. Just by this. I refuse. Oh, Bubba, come on, give it a try. You never know. Sing it in your head first. See how that goes. Wood out of wind, because this is where I thought of it, and we will call this Pooh Corner, and we will build an Eeyore house of sticks. A Pooh Corner for Eeyore. There are a heap of sticks on the other side of the wood, said Piglet. I saw them. Lots and lots, all piled up. Thank you, Piglet, said Pooh. What you have just said will be a great help to us, and because of it, I shall call this a place Pooh and Piglet Corner if Pooh Corner didn't sound better, which it does, being smaller and more like a corner coming along. Come along. Oh, okay. So they got down off the gate and went around to the other side of the wood to fetch the sticks. Mr. Robin had spent the morning indoors going to Africa and back, and he had just got off the boat and was wondering what it was like outside when who should come knocking on the door but Eeyore. Hello, Eeyore, said Christopher Robin as he opened the door and came out. How are you? Snowing still, said Eeyore gloomily. So it is. And freezing. Is it? Yes, said Eeyore. However, he said, brightening up a little, we haven't had an earthquake lately. What's the matter, Eeyore? Nothing, Christopher Robin. Nothing important. I suppose you haven't seen a house or whatnot anywhere about. What sort of house? It's a house. Who lives there? I do. At least I thought I did, but I suppose I don't. After all, we can't all have houses. But Eeyore, I didn't know. I always thought... I don't know how it is, Christopher Robin, but with all this snow and one thing and another, not to mention icicles and such like, isn't so hot in my field about 3 o'clock in the morning as some people think it is. It isn't close. If you know what I mean, not so as to be uncomfortable, it isn't stuffy. In fact, Christopher Robin, we went on in a loud whisper, quite between ourselves and don't tell anybody, it's cold. Oh, Eeyore. And I said to myself, the others will be sorry if I'm getting myself all cold. They haven't got brains, any of them. Only gray fluff that's blown into their heads by mistake, and they don't think, but if it goes on snowing for another 6 weeks or so, one of them will begin to say to himself, Eeyore can't be so very much too hot about 3 o'clock in the morning, and they'll get about and they'll be sorry. Oh, Eeyore, said Christopher Robin, feeling very sorry already. I don't mean you, Christopher Robin, you're different. So what it all comes to is that I built myself a house down by my little wood. Did you really? How exciting! Oh no, is Pooh and Piglet gonna rip apart his house and rebuild it? Is that what's gonna happen? Oh dear. The really exciting part, said Eeyore's most melancholy voice, is that when I left it this morning it was there, when I came back it wasn't. Not at all. Very natural, it was only Eeyore's house, but still I just wondered. Christopher Robin didn't stop to wonder. He was already back in his house, putting on his waterproof hat, his waterproof boots, and his waterproof Macintosh as fast as he could. We'll go and look for it at once, he called out to Eeyore. Sometimes, said Eeyore, when people have quite finished taking a person's house, there are 1 or 2 bits which they don't want and are rather glad for the person to take back, if you know what I mean. So I thought if we just went... Come on, said Christopher Robin, and off they hurried, and in a very little time they got to the corner of the field by the side of the pine wood where Eeyore's house wasn't any longer. There, said Eeyore, not a stick of it left. Of course, I've still got all this snow to do what I like with. One mustn't complain. But Christopher Robin wasn't listening to Eeyore. He was listening to something else. Can you hear it? He asked. What is it? Somebody laughing? Listen. They both listened. They heard a deep, gruff voice and a singing voice that the more it snowed, the more it went on snowing in a small, high-pitched, tiddly-palming in between. It's Pooh, said Christopher Robin excitedly. Possibly, said Eeyore. And Piglet, said Christopher Robin excitedly. Probably, said Eeyore. What we want is a trained bloodhound. What? Why does he want to send a bloodhound after them? The words of the song changed suddenly. We finished our house, sang the gruff voice. Tiddly-pom, sang the squeaky voice. The beautiful house, tiddly-pom. I wish it were mine, tiddly-pom. Ah, so they did rip apart Eeyore's house. Pooh, shouted Christopher Robin. The singers on the gate stopped suddenly. It's Christopher Robin, said Pooh eagerly. He's round by the place where we got all those sticks from, said Piglet. Come on, said Pooh. They climbed on their gate and hurried round the corner of the wood, Pooh making a welcoming noise all the way. Why, here is Eeyore, said Pooh when he had finished hugging Christopher Robin. He nudged Piglet, and Piglet nudged him, and they thought to themselves what a lovely surprise they had got ready. Hello, Eeyore. Same to you, Pooh Bear, and twice on Thursdays, said Eeyore gloomily. Before Pooh could say, why Thursdays? Christopher Robin began to explain the sad story of Eeyore's lost house, and Pooh and Piglet listened, their eyes seemed to get bigger and bigger. Lina, I trust you. I just fought something. I don't know what it was, but I guess I'm warm now. Did you sing the song? Did it work? Good job. Or did you actually fight something? What'd you fight? Did she? Where'd you say it was, said Pooh? Just here, said Eeyore. Many of sticks? Yes. Oh, said Piglet. What, said Eeyore? I just said oh, said Piglet nervously. So it seemed quite easy to hum tiddly-palm once or twice in the what shall we do now kind of way. You're sure of the house, said Pooh. I mean, you're sure the house was just there? Of course I am, said Eeyore, and he murmured to himself. No brain at all, some of them. No, not good job, not good job, but you're warm. It wasn't that the point? Why, what's the matter, Pooh? Asked Christopher Robin. Well, said Pooh, the fact is, said Pooh. Well, the fact is, said Pooh. You see, said Pooh. It's like this, said Pooh, and something seemed to tell him that he wasn't explaining very well, and he nudged Piglet again. Like this, said Piglet quickly. Only warmer, he added after deep thought. What's warmer? The other side of the wood where Eeyore's house is. My house, said Eeyore? My house is here. No, said Piglet firmly. The other side of the wood. Because of being warmer, said Pooh. But I ought to know. Come and look, said Piglet simply. He led the way. There wouldn't be 2 houses, said Pooh. Not so close together. Oh, that house looks better. They came around the corner and there was Eeyore's house looking as comfy as anything. There you are, said Piglet. Inside as well as outside, said Pooh proudly. Eeyore went inside and came out again. It's a remarkable thing, he said. It is my house.
And I built it where I said I did, so the wind must have blown it here. And the wind blew it right over the wood and flew it down here. Here it is as good as ever. In fact, better in places. Much better, Pooh and Piglet together. It just shows what can be done by taking a little trouble, Senor. Do you see, Pooh? Do you see, Piglet? Brains first and hard work. Look at it. That's the way to build a house, Senor proudly. They left him in it, and Chris and Robin went back to lunch with his friends Pooh and Piglet, and on their way they told him of the awful mistake they had made. When he had finished laughing, they all sang the outdoor song for snowy weather, and the rest of the way home, Piglet, who was still not quite sure of his voice, putting in the tiddly palms again. And I know it seems easy, said Piglet to himself, but isn't everyone who could do it? Alright, so alright, Tank, go ahead, click on the thingy. Alright. Are you yelling again, Antonia? Oh, you're stretching, okay. Alright, well, thank you for joining me, everybody. I really appreciate it. There's a few chapters left in this little Winnie-the-Pooh, like, full story thing, but we'll have to get to it another day, okay? Okay. Alright, well, thanks for joining me, everybody. I appreciate it. What's the outro Antonia does? Oh, okay, thank you. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, whichever part of the world you're in. Thanks for listening, and we'll have to continue this another time. Anyways, if you guys summon me on Thursday, I'll see you Thursday. If not, then I will see you when I see you. It's finally a part 3 soon, yes! And after Winnie-the-Pooh... Oh, I can't tell them? Oh, okay. And Tony says it's gonna be a surprise. Alright, well, that'll be the end of it. Bye, everybody! Have a good day! Eat an apple or something. An apple? I'll see if we have any apples. Alright, bye, everybody! Bye-bye!